$33 billion. That is the estimated amount lost annually in North America alone to agricultural pests, crop diseases, and weeds. To protect their harvests, commercial farmers spend over $40 billion each year on chemical treatments, fungicides, and sprayer applications. But here's the number that should stop you cold. When a commercial farm sprays an entire field, more than 85% of that expensive chemical lands on completely healthy plants that never had a single bug on them. For nearly a century, agriculture has operated on an expensive guessing game, blanket spraying thousands of acres because nobody has the labor to inspect millions of individual plants across square miles of dirt. That massive waste of capital and chemicals is not just an ecological concern. It is a financial hemorrhage that directly eats into farm profitability every single season. Now, imagine walking onto a farm with equipment weighing under 5 pounds that fits in a pickup truck and surveys 1,500 acres of dense crops before lunchtime. Imagine a system using multispectral sensors and computer vision to inspect individual leaves down to the millimeter, spotting spider mites, fungal rust, or aphid colonies days before the human eye can see them. And imagine handing that farmer a precision digital map instructing their tractor spray boom to treat only the 85 infected acres, cutting their chemical bill by $30,000 on a single afternoon. You are providing actionable spatial intelligence that immediately protects cash flow while safeguarding the farmer's total harvest yield. The operators running these systems are not venture-backed tech startups or multi-generational farmers. They are independent commercial drone service providers running lean operations that generate $120,000 to over $250,000 in net cash flow during a 4-month growing season. In this deep dive, you will learn how this business works, the hardware stack, unit economics, per acre pricing models, how to bypass sales friction by partnering with agricultural retail co-ops, and the operational realities of battery logistics, weather windows, and ground truthing. If you pay attention to only one mechanism, make sure it is the white label retail co-op contracting structure we examine later. It allows a solo operator with a $20,000 rig to lock in 5-figure seasonal contracts before planting begins. My name is George, and I break down the mechanics of unglamorous, high cash flow service businesses that quietly print money in the real economy. Let's get into it. To understand why this opportunity exists, you must understand the logistical reality of modern farming. In the American Midwest, the Canadian prairies, and major grain regions worldwide, commercial farms operate across 2,000 to 10,000 acres. A single agricultural section is 1 square mile, or 640 acres. When you stand at the edge of a section of corn in mid-July, the crop is 8 feet tall, the canopy is closed, humidity is 90%, and you cannot see 10 feet in front of you. In these vast agricultural environments, visual scale is deceptive, and human physical scouting quickly becomes an impossible logistical challenge. For 70 years, farmers have monitored fields through traditional ground scouting. An agronomist drives to the field edge, walks 50 to 100 yards into the rows in a W pattern, inspects 20 or 30 plants, notes observations, and drives to the next field. A ground scout walking for 45 minutes across a 160-acre field inspects less than 1/2% of the canopy. Over 99% of the crop remains unexamined. The fatal flaw is that pests do not invade uniformly. When armyworms, rootworms, spider mites, or fungal spores like tar spot enter an ecosystem, they establish localized beachheads. They start along fence rows where weeds harbor insects. They thrive in low-lying swales where excess soil moisture creates humid microclimates for spores. They drift in on prevailing winds and settle along tree lines. In traditional operations, one of 2 costly outcomes occurs. In the first scenario, the ground scout misses an isolated 20-acre outbreak in the center. By the time it is visible from the road, insects have stripped foliage, causing irreversible yield losses of 50 to 100 bushels per acre. In the second scenario, the farmer notices pests on the headlands and panics. Not knowing the boundaries, they order a blanket spray. If application costs $35 per acre in chemicals plus $8 in application fees, treating a 2,000-acre farm costs $86,000 to solve a problem confined to 80 acres, wasting $79,000 spraying healthy plants. Both outcomes are economically disastrous for the grower. Missing the infestation destroys crop yield, while blanket spraying destroys cash reserves on unnecessary chemical applications. This is where AI-driven drone crop scouting becomes an undeniable economic force. You're not selling pretty aerial photos, you're selling input optimization and radical cost reduction, turning an $86,000 blanket chemical expenditure into a $14,000 surgical strike while protecting harvest yield. Let's examine how the technology works, because there is a massive difference between amateur hobbyists and professional precision agriculture operators. Many assume drone scouting is simply flying a consumer camera drone over a field. That approach is useless to a commercial farmer. A standard color camera captures only visible red, green, and blue light. By the time a plant shows visible yellowing or browning, internal leaf cellular structure is already dead or severely compromised. Professional scouting relies on specialized sensor payloads capturing light beyond the visible spectrum, combined with high-throughput computer vision algorithms. Enterprise scouting aircraft, such as the DJI Mavic 3 Multispectral or platforms carrying Centera and MicaSense sensors, utilize multi-lens arrays capturing distinct bands, near-infrared, red edge, green, and high-resolution RGB imagery. This is integrated with an onboard real-time kinematic satellite positioning module known as RTK, which georeferences every pixel down to centimeter accuracy. The RTK satellite positioning ensures that when an image is taken at 300 feet in the air, the exact latitude and longitude of every single crop row is recorded within half an inch. The physics behind this are straightforward. Healthy green vegetation absorbs visible light for photosynthesis, but spongy mesophyll cells inside healthy leaves strongly reflect near-infrared light. When a plant is attacked by spider mites, aphids, or fungal mycelium, cellular structures break down long before leaves turn brown to the eye, and near-infrared reflection drops immediately. By calculating vegetation indices like NDVI and NDRE, software produces calibrated reflection maps highlighting exact vegetative stress zones across hundreds of acres. This optical contrast between healthy and stressed cellular tissue provides an early warning diagnostic capability that no visual ground scout can match, detecting crop stress days before symptoms appear on the leaf surface. However, a raw NDVI map is only the first layer. It acts like an infrared thermometer. It tells you the patient has a fever, but not whether it is caused by infection, insects, or dehydration. If an operator hands a farmer an NDVI heat map showing red patches, the farmer still does not know if the cause is nitrogen leaching, compaction, drought, or aphids. This is where artificial intelligence and edge computer vision transform the economics. Modern platforms feed thousands of sub-centimeter imagery frames captured during low-altitude passes into convolutional neural networks and YOLO object detection models, trained on millions of labeled agricultural images representing hundreds of diseases, insect species, weed varieties, and nutrient deficiencies. The deep learning models analyze spatial textures, leaf margins, and discoloration geometries to isolate the exact biological cause of vegetative stress across thousands of individual plants. When the AI engine analyzes flight data, it performs automated leaf-level classification. It examines damage morphology, identifying armyworm feeding patterns, distinguishing weed varieties like Palmer amaranth from water hemp, calculating defoliation density per square meter, and detecting fungal pustules. The deliverable is a georeferenced prescription file formatted as a shapefile, GeoJSON polygon, or ISO XML map. A farmer uploads that file wirelessly into their John Deere Operations Center, Case IHAFS Connect, or Climate Field View Monitor, and automated sprayer nozzles turn on and off automatically, spraying full chemical concentration directly over the 80 infected acres and shutting off completely over the rest. By converting raw computer vision detections into industry-standard ISO XML and shapefile formats, the drone scouting system integrates directly with existing modern farm machinery without requiring the grower to purchase new sprayers or modify their workflow. Let's do the simple math on the economics to understand why farmers eagerly pay substantial fees for this service. Consider an average Midwest corn and soybean grower farming 3,000 acres. Across those 3,000 acres, the farmer faces two major pest windows: early season emergence and mid to late summer fungal and reproductive insect pressure, such as rootworm beetles and tar spot. If that grower executes standard blanket, spraying across 3,000 acres, foliar fungicides and insecticides cost $28 to $34 per acre, with custom application fees adding $7 to $10. Taking a conservative baseline of $38 per acre total cost, blanket treating 3,000 acres requires a cash outlay of $114,000. Now, look at what happens when that farmer hires an AI drone scouting service. The operator flies the 3,000 acres during the critical pre-tasseling stage. The AI analytics discover that 3 distinct zones totaling 420 acres have active insect feeding and fungal development. The operator generates a variable rate prescription map targeting those 420 acres with a 60-foot buffer zone around each perimeter, bringing the total treatment area to 500 acres. The farmer treats only those 500 targeted acres. 500 acres at $38 per acre equals $19,000. Subtracting $19,000 from the original $114,000 blanket cost, and the farmer just preserved $95,000 of hard cash in a single decision. That $95,000 represents pure bottom-line margin that stays on the farm rather than evaporating into the soil on healthy plants. If that farmer paid you a full-season monitoring package at $20 per acre, their annual investment across 3,000 acres is $60,000. In that single spray window alone, your prescription saved them $95,000 in wasted chemicals. They made their entire annual fee back, put $35,000 of net cash savings into their bank account, and protected their harvest from insect damage. That is before accounting for the 5 to 7% yield preservation from catching the outbreak 7 to 10 days earlier than a ground scout. In commercial agriculture, an investment generating an immediate 3-to-1 cash return with zero capital risk is an absolute no-brainer. In high-stakes production agriculture, handing a grower an audit trail that documents exactly where every dollar of crop protection went creates instant client loyalty. Now let's break down the startup costs, hardware infrastructure, and operational equipment required to launch an independent agricultural drone scouting business. One remarkable aspect of this business is capital efficiency. If you want to start a custom spraying business, a single commercial spray rig costs $450,000. A commercial excavation backhoe and trailer runs $200,000. In contrast, a commercial AI agricultural scouting rig can be fully deployed for between $22,000 and $28,000 in total capital outlay. Let's itemize the exact components required. The first is the flight platform. In modern agricultural mapping, multi-rotor enterprise aircraft have replaced fixed-wing models for farms under 5,000 acres due to portability and vertical takeoff stability. The current industry benchmark is the DJI Mavic 3 Multispectral, or M3M. It combines a 20-megapixel mechanical shutter, RGB survey camera with 4 5-megapixel multispectral sensors, capturing green, red edge, and near-infrared wavelengths, with an integrated sunlight sensor calibrating solar irradiance during flight. An enterprise flight kit, including aircraft, smart controller, protective case, and accessories, costs approximately $4,500 to $5,200. Having an enterprise-grade mechanical shutter is crucial because electronic rolling shutters introduce motion blur when mapping at 25 to 30 miles per hour, distorting the photogrammetric reconstruction. And the second requirement is high-precision satellite positioning equipment. To produce survey-grade prescription maps that align perfectly with automated tractor GPS guidance systems, you must utilize real-time kinematic positioning. This requires either a dedicated mobile GNSS base station, such as the DJI DRTK2, or a subscription to a regional NTRIP correction network. A portable RTK base station setup with tripod and hardware costs approximately $2,000 to $2,500. The third category is field power and rapid battery infrastructure. In commercial scouting, revenue is directly tied to daily flight throughput. A drone battery provides 30 to 35 minutes of flight time. To fly continuously throughout the day, you must operate a closed-loop charging cycle where batteries are charged in the field as fast as they are consumed. This requires a fleet of at least 8 enterprise flight batteries, costing $1,800 to $2,200. To power them in remote locations, you need a quiet inverter generator like a Honda EU2200i, or a heavy-duty lithium power station paired with high wattage charging hubs, costing $1,500 to $2,400. Running an unbroken battery cycle is the heartbeat of the entire field day. If your charging cycle breaks down, your entire multi-thousand-dollar daily revenue engine grinds to a dead halt. The fourth component is the mobile processing workstation. Commercial operators must perform edge stitching and preliminary AI analysis right on the truck tailgate to give farmers immediate answers. This requires a ruggedized laptop equipped with a dedicated NVIDIA RTX GPU, high-speed solid-state storage, and 32 to 64 gigabytes of RAM. In addition, rural connectivity is essential for syncing prescription files to farm management clouds. Many operators mount a compact Starlink mini satellite terminal directly to their vehicle roof. A dedicated rugged workstation and mobile satellite terminal setup costs approximately $2,800 to $3,600. Having the computing power to process missions on site gives the grower immediate peace of mind while eliminating backlog at the end of a long field day. The fifth category is software and AI analytics licensing. You need an agricultural photogrammetry suite like Pix4D Fields or Drone Deploy Agriculture for fast orthomosaic generation and calibrated index calculations. In addition, AI plant intelligence platforms like Centera Field Agent, Solvi, or Custom Vision models handle automated weed clustering, stand counts, and pest classification. An annual software licensing package across these tools ranges from $3,200 to $5,500. Finally, FAA Part 107, Commercial Remote Pilot Certification and Aviation Liability Insurance, adds $1,800 to $2,800 annually. Total startup capital requirement comes out to roughly $22,000 to $28,000, the capital equivalent of a used sedan. Now let's examine the revenue architecture and pricing models that turn that $25,000 investment into a highly profitable enterprise. In agricultural scouting, there are 3 primary business models. The first model is spot scouting, where a farmer calls you on an on-demand basis when they suspect an issue in a specific field. You charge a flat per acre fee for a single flight mission, complete with vegetation maps and prescription shapefiles. For broadacre row crops like corn, soybeans, and wheat, standard market rates for a single multispectral scouting flight range from $5 to $12 per acre, with a $300 to $400 minimum show-up fee. For high-value specialty crops like vineyards, almond orchards, and berry farms, growers routinely pay $15 to $35 per acre for a single, multispectral, and thermal pass. While spot scouting lands initial clients, relying exclusively on one-off calls creates erratic scheduling. This brings us to the second and most lucrative model, the full season crop scouting retainer. In this structure, you sell a season-long crop intelligence subscription, contracting before planting season to provide 4 to 6 strategic flight passes over their entire acreage at critical biological inflection points. A typical 4-flight seasonal schedule includes early emergent stand counting, early vegetative weed and nitrogen mapping, peak vegetative and reproductive pest inspection, and pre-harvest canopy dry down assessment. For this 4-pass seasonal program, operators charge $16 to $28 per total contracted acre for the season. Payment terms are structured for stability. 50% is billed up front in early spring before planting begins, providing substantial operating cash flow, and 50% is billed mid-season after the third flight is delivered. Let's do the math on what a solo operator running a retainer model generates. With autonomous flight software, an operator flying an M3M at 350 feet above ground level maps, roughly 300 to 400 acres per hour. Factoring in battery swaps, RTK repositioning, and driving, a single pilot comfortably surveys 1,200 to 1,800 acres per working day. This upfront retainer structure gives the drone operator guaranteed working capital to cover software licenses, insurance, and equipment overhead before the flying season even kicks off. In temperate agricultural zones, the peak growing season lasts roughly 4 months, or about 120 days. Accounting for weather windows, an operator can expect 50 to 60 prime flight days. If you build a client base of 6 to 8 commercial farms, representing a portfolio of 12,000 contracted acres at an average retainer rate of $18 per acre, your gross revenue for the season is $216,000. Now subtract operating expenses. Vehicle fuel and maintenance runs $4,500. Battery replacements cost $2,500. Generator fuel is $800. Annual software subscriptions cost $4,500. Commercial insurance is $2,200. Satellite data is $600. And supplies total $1,500. Total operating expenses come to roughly $16,600, leaving you with approximately $199,400 in pre-tax net operating income, a net profit margin exceeding 90%. However, there's an even faster and more scalable way to capture massive acreage without cold calling individual farmers: retail agronomy and agricultural co-op white label partnerships. One of the biggest friction points for any new entrepreneur in agriculture is the relationship barrier. Farmers are skeptical of outsiders and technology salespeople. They have spent decades working with trusted local partners, specifically their local agricultural retail cooperatives, chemical dealerships, and certified independent crop consultants. Companies like Nutrien Ag Solutions, Helena Agri Enterprises, FS Growmark, and hundreds of regional farmer-owned co-ops already have established relationships with every grower in their territory. These agricultural retailers employ certified agronomists who sell millions of dollars of seed, fertilizer, and crop protection chemicals annually. These agronomists want to offer advanced precision scouting and variable rate prescription services to protect their chemical sales and provide high-value consulting. But they face a massive operational bottleneck. They do not have the time, FAA certifications, specialized drone hardware, or technical workflow capacity to fly thousands of acres every week during the busiest months of the year. This creates an extraordinary partnership opportunity. Instead of trying to convince 60 individual farmers to trust you, you walk directly into the offices of 2 or 3 regional agricultural retail co-ops in early spring. You propose a white label precision scouting subcontract. The retail co-op packages the precision drone scouting service under their own trusted brand and sells it directly to their existing farmer network as part of their elite agronomy program. For the retail agronomist, partnering with a specialized drone operator allows them to deliver premium data services to their commercial clients without adding payroll or taking on aviation regulatory liabilities. The co-op handles all client billing, sales, relationship management, and final agronomic product recommendations. You act as their dedicated technical flight and data processing partner. Every morning, the retail agronomist sends you a list of field boundaries needing survey. You drive out, execute the autonomous flight missions, process the multispectral data through the AI analytics pipeline, and upload the finished prescription maps directly into the co-op's central portal. In this white label structure, you charge the retail co-op a discounted wholesale rate, typically $10 to $14 per acre for full season monitoring. While your per acre rate is slightly lower than selling direct, your customer acquisition cost drops to absolute zero. A single retail co-op partnership can instantly hand you 15,000 to 25,000 acres in a single contract. You eliminate all marketing headaches, avoid chasing individual invoices, and spend 100% of your time operating equipment and delivering precision data. This subcontracting model establishes a symbiotic relationship where the co-op secures chemical loyalty and the operator secures guaranteed multi-thousand acre flight volume. To truly understand what this business looks like in practice, let's walk through a realistic day in the life of a commercial drone crop scout during the peak summer growing season. The day begins at 5:30 in the morning with a comprehensive weather and airspace briefing. In agricultural drone operations, weather is your primary operating constraint. You check real-time radar, surface wind forecasts, cloud cover predictions, and dew points. For high-accuracy multispectral imaging, the ideal flight window occurs between 10 in the morning and 3:30 in the afternoon, when the sun is above 30 degrees elevation, minimizing canopy shadows. However, on calm, clear days, flights can begin as early as 8:30 for emergence mapping. By 7:30, you arrive at the perimeter of the first property, a 1,200-acre corn and soybean operation. You pull onto a firm field approach. Within 8 minutes, your mobile command station is operational. You set up your RTK GNSS base station on a surveyor's tripod, start the quiet inverter generator in the truck bed, and plug in the rapid charging station. You open your flight tablet, load the boundary polygons for the first section, and let the software calculate the optimal flight grid perpendicular to the wind. You hold the multispectral sensor over a calibration reflectance panel to record a radiometric reference frame, and hit launch. The aircraft climbs to 350 feet, begins its automated grid at 28 miles per hour, capturing synchronized RGB, near-infrared, and red edge frames tagged with sub-inch RTK coordinates. Down at the truck, you monitor telemetry, battery voltage, and airspace sensors. Exactly 32 minutes later, the drone returns and lands smoothly. You eject the warm battery into an active cooling slot, snap in a fresh battery, swap the memory card, and send the drone back up within 90 seconds. By cycling through your 8 batteries, you survey the entire 1,200-acre property by noon. Maintaining a smooth, 90-second turnaround on the landing pad is what enables a solo pilot to achieve high daily acreage, throughput without physical fatigue or operational delays. While the final flight finishes, you plug memory cards into your rugged workstation. You launch Pix4 D fields, importing 5,000 multispectral frames. The software stitches the 1,200-acre orthomosaic, aligns spectral bands, and generates calibrated NDVI and NDRE layers in less than 20 minutes offline. You feed the reflectance data into your AI analytics module. Within minutes, computer vision models flag 3 critical anomalies: a 5-acre spider mite outbreak along a gravel road in Field 2, 45 acres of gray leaf, spot lesions in Field 4, and 80 acres of nitrogen deficiency in Field 1. The software automatically generates a multi-zone variable rate prescription shapefile. You connect your laptop to your Starlink terminal and sync the prescription directly into the grower's John Deere Operations Center account. When the farmer drives up at 12:45, you show them high-resolution leaf imagery on your tablet, confirm the exact boundaries of the infestation, and verify the prescription is already waiting in their tractor cab. The farmer can now treat 50 acres instead of 1,200 acres, saving $35,000 before dinner. You pack up and drive to your next scheduled farm. Delivering that actionable data while still standing in the field transforms the dynamic between the operator and the grower, turning abstract aerial data into immediate financial savings. Now let's address the operational hazards of this business, because commercial drone scouting is not effortless passive income. The first hazard is weather volatility. You cannot fly commercial mapping missions in heavy rain, dense fog, or sustained winds exceeding 22 to 25 miles per hour. High winds drain batteries rapidly, cause motion blur, and distort sensor angles. During wet springs, you may face 2 consecutive weeks where rain keeps equipment grounded. When weather clears, every client will need their fields mapped simultaneously within a 48-hour window, requiring 12 to 14-hour field days during peak windows. The second hurdle is battery thermal management. High-performance enterprise lithium batteries generate significant internal heat during 30 minutes of flight. In midsummer, when ambient field temperatures reach 95 degrees Fahrenheit, a returning battery will be extremely hot. If you plug a hot lithium battery into a rapid charger, internal safety circuits will lock out and refuse to charge until cells cool down. Professional operators engineer active cooling systems in their vehicles, using industrial 12-volt blower fans or air-conditioned vehicle cabins to cool batteries within 10 minutes, maintaining an unbroken charging cycle. The third challenge is ground truthing. Artificial intelligence is an extraordinary discovery tool, but spectral anomalies can produce ambiguous data. Soil compaction can mimic root nematode damage, and hail tears can look like insect defoliation. Disciplined operators do not blindly email raw AI files. When the AI flags an anomaly, the operator or partnering retail agronomist walks out to the exact GPS coordinates, pulls a leaf sample, inspects the plant with a magnifying loupe to confirm live insects or spores, and verifies the diagnosis before releasing the prescription. Ground truthing bridges the gap between digital artificial intelligence and physical agronomy, guaranteeing that every chemical recommendation is verified by real biological evidence in the field. The fourth reality is annual seasonality. In temperate regions, scouting revenue is concentrated in a 5 to 6 month window from April through September. During winter, fields are bare or snow-covered. Successful operators handle seasonality by setting aside 40% of summer gross revenue for reserves and taxes, and by cross-utilizing enterprise hardware during the off-season for industrial roof thermal inspections, utility solar farm scans, and construction topography surveys. Off-season commercial inspections keep cash flow steady during the winter, while ensuring the operator enters spring with fully depreciated and tested equipment. The fifth hurdle is sales psychology. If you approach a farmer talking about machine learning and neural networks, you will face skepticism. Farmers care about economics, not tech buzzwords. You must frame conversations entirely around financial returns, cutting their July fungicide bill from $70,000 down to $15,000, or catching tar spot early to preserve 15 bushels per acre. When you speak the language of input reduction and net yield, you become an indispensable financial partner. In the E-Myth Revisited, Michael Gerber explains that small businesses fail when technicians focus solely on technical work without building a business system. Flying a drone represents less than 20% of this enterprise. The real business is the operational system, the battery charging protocol, automated processing pipeline, white label agreements, and cash flow structure. Similarly, in Same as Ever, Morgenhausel reminds us that while technology evolves, human behavior and fundamental economics never change. Businesses that endure are those that eliminate waste, reduce capital friction, and solve expensive problems for essential industries. Agriculture is the bedrock of human civilization. Farmers will always need to protect crops from biological destruction, and they will always reward operators who help them do it with greater precision and lower costs. To see these principles in practice, consider two operators, Mark and Ryan, who launched drone services in the same rural county. Ryan focused on gadgets and flashy marketing. He bought a consumer photography drone for $1,200, built an elaborate website, and called himself an AI agricultural visionary. He cold-called farmers offering $100 aerial promotional videos. When a farmer asked for a variable rate prescription shapefile to spot spray velvet leaf, Ryan had no idea what a shapefile was. In late June, Ryan attempted to fly his consumer drone in 22-mile-per-hour winds, lost control, and crashed into a grain elevator, destroying his camera. Having spent $8,000 while earning $1,800, Ryan quit, calling drones an overhyped gimmick. Mark took a disciplined, systematic approach. He studied state university agronomy guides, mastered crop growth stages and rate controller formats, earned his FAA Part 107 license, and invested in a dedicated commercial rig. A Mavic 3 multispectral, RTK-based station, 8 batteries, an inverter generator, and professional photogrammetry software. Instead of cold calling farmers, Mark met with the head agronomists of 2 local agricultural retail co-ops in March. He proposed a white label scouting workflow that allowed them to offer precision prescriptions to 50 commercial growers. The co-ops signed Mark to seasonal agreements covering 14,000 acres across 4 passes at $12 per acre, guaranteeing $168,000 before planting began. Mark's early preparation and focus on commercial retail partnerships gave him an immediate competitive moat that amateur operators running consumer equipment could never match. During the season, Mark executed with precision. He maintained strict battery cooling, conducted ground truthing with co-op agronomists, and delivered prescriptions within 2 hours of landing. By harvest, Mark's data had saved growers over $340,000 in chemical expenses and caught 2 major rootworm outbreaks. Mark cleared over $145,000 in net pre-tax profit in his first year. The following spring, the co-ops expanded his contracted territory to 24,000 acres, enabling Mark to add a second rig and hire his first pilot. Mark succeeded because he built a repeatable business system designed to solve a massive economic problem. By treating precision scouting as an industrial workflow rather than a freelance hobby, Mark established a defensible, multi-year recurring revenue business. When you look at modern technology, a powerful truth emerges. The most lucrative AI opportunities are not happening in consumer chatbots or social media apps. The real wealth is being created where intelligent software collides with physical industrial reality, when you apply computer vision, autonomous robotics, and multispectral sensors. To the essential problem of feeding the planet, You build a resilient business that produces immediate, measurable cash savings for real-world operations. As you evaluate your entrepreneurial direction, ask yourself, are you building a business selling novelties to hobbyists? Or are you building an operational system that solves an expensive problem for an indispensable global industry? The real opportunity is not in the noise. It is out in the fields, waiting for operators with the discipline, tools, and systems to capture it. If this deep dive gave you a clear perspective on the real economics of commercial drone businesses, make sure to hit that like button. It helps more than you know. Subscribe for more breakdowns of the unit economics and operational systems behind overlooked, highly profitable business models. Drop a comment below with your thoughts, or tell me what unglamorous industry you want to see analyzed next. I'm George, and I'll see you in the next video.